Hey folks, welcome to another Watertrek 360. Today I'm going to be doing a product review for an underwater housing for a smartphone. I recently picked up an iPhone 13 Pro. I will be diving in the Caribbean in a couple of weeks, and I wanted to see how this phone would work. So in order to do that, I needed a dive housing. I found online a company called Divevolk, and they have a housing called the SeaTouch 4 Max. In today's review, hopefully I'm biased, full disclosure, I do not get paid by Divevolk. I bought this equipment on my own. I don't represent them. I have no stake in the company. So this is my review at a behest of a friend who said, hey, look, you got to do a review of that product. So let's dive in. The first thing I noticed when I got this was how big it was and how heavy it was, which was actually kind of impressive. It's really sturdy. It's got some beef to it. I have other underwater cameras. I have the Insta-1, I have a Hero, and usually their housings are no more than 15 to 20% larger than the actual camera, hard glass, on and off buttons. This is not that. This is much bigger than the iPhone, as you can see, but in a way I'm okay with that. That makes sense to me. I mean, if I lose this, I'm out $500 in whatever film is, videos on it, and kind of stinks up the vacation, but it doesn't crush you. You lose the phone, you lose your contacts, your wallet, your Apple Wallet or Pay, or your ability to connect with the airlines to get back and forth, and $1,000. I mean, they're over $1,000. So losing this is huge. So the fact that this is, as sturdy and as beefy as it is was a pleasant surprise. I mean, I really am excited about using this. So, let's, it's as I said, from a size standpoint, it's like 9 inches long, 4.5 wide, 2 inches deep. And that's 23 centimeters by 12 by 4. It weighs 397 grams. With the phone and the filter kit, it's a little over a pound. So it's got some weight to it. You don't want to lose that. They do provide you with a lanyard that you can attach to your wrist, so this doesn't slip out of your hands. So how does it work? Well, the first thing you notice when it comes, it has this cover. You take this protective cover off, and there's this membrane here, and we're going to get to that because that is the secret sauce. Now, this membrane is a soft touch. The company says, hey, don't scratch it, be careful, don't put any abrasives on it. Additionally, don't push really hard. They reference the fact that it has 100,000 touches approximately for life of membrane. So if you're diving and you're doing photo instead of video and you take 100 pictures per dive, you got 1,000 dives before the life of this runs out. Now, again, by the time you do the 1,000 dives for the average person, you got a new phone and you're going to need a new case. So that really is a nit. So it works just like you do your phone. There's no on-off button. It's all slide and tactical. The other thing you need to do is then take out the sleeve that is inside the housing when it comes. Now, you don't throw this away. This sleeve has a purpose as well. When you store the camera, it needs to be inside so there's not undue pressure on the membrane if something lands on it and stretches it and has impact on the ability of the membrane to do its job, or worse, perf it, and then you've got a waste. So you take that out. You don't throw that away. You also don't throw this away. Both of these should be on this membrane or in the housing when you store it. And then that leaves the cavity with this gasket here. Now this is a dry silicone gasket. Okay, you get a second gasket that comes with it when you order, but it don't put any gels on it or anything. It needs to stay dry. Also, when you close it, make sure it's firmly closed. These thumb screws with threads on an angle, you can catch them. You don't want to, wear the thread or cut it or catch it and do damage to the inside of the housing as well as the screw thread themselves, and then, and create the potential for bad seal and then water damage. So you don't want to do that. So be careful of that. So what you get are these sleeves. So it came with 2 sleeves, one for the Max, which I don't have, again, 12 and 13 Max. This is for the iPhone 12, 12 Pro, 13, and 13 Pro. You just take the camera, pop it into the sleeve. Now when you put it in, you put the display side to the membrane side. Okay, so you put that up, face up, membrane goes up, it goes in. Phone sits there, and then you use the phone just the way you would normally move your phone. I'm going to move it here to, I'm going to go to full size, and I'm going to move it over to photo, and then we're good. You also have the ability here to take a selfie if you want, so you can pop the camera around and do that. The problem is this membrane is not as clear as the glass on the side. It does have some opacity to it. It's a little more opaque, so it'll be grainier in the video, or photo will not have the same quality as if you took it from this side. Now, some other setups that you have to do, and it all depends on your camera. It comes with instruction if you're using a Samsung or something like that. For this one here, on the iPhone, you have to turn on raise to wake, and then you also turn on assistive touch. You turn off auto brightness, and you turn off 3D touch, but that's on an older iPhone, so that's really not applicable to a 13. And then you'll be able to use the display just like you would at any time topside. Once you cinch that up, camera's ready to go. If you're right-handed, it's perfect because it does your little thumb piece there, and it's great. I mean, I'm excited to use it. Like I said, it's pretty beefy, and I'm excited. A couple of items to note, though, with this sleeve. When you take it out, and I know because I've done this, don't take it out camera side up. Always take it out the same way you put it in, with the membrane up. If you don't, I'm going to show you what happens. You're going to slide it out. It's going to come out, and there's nothing to catch it, and your phone will fall out of the sleeve. And the last thing you want to have happen, let's say you need the phone on the boat, you take it out, it's upside down, boom, hits the deck, maybe somebody kicks it, and next thing you know, you got a phone sliding over the side. That would crush your day. So be careful. Take it out, make sure that when you do, you've got membrane side up. Now, as I mentioned, I had also purchased the filter kit. Now, the filter kit comes with 2 filters, the standard red filter and the purple-green water filter. Again, pretty easy to use. These there's some minor assembly required. You have to put these together. The first thing you need to do is assemble this expansion arm here and put these 2 thumb screws in. I chose the setting of 2 screw holes in because of the camera that I have. And then what you do is you put one side of the mounting bracket here, the other side on this side. Make sure these are 67 millimeter. Make sure the thread for the lens is facing up and away from the camera. You then place this on top, and then you have another screw with the pivot wheel, and that just screws in. You make sure you cinch them up pretty tightly. You align that to where your camera sensors are for the camera phone. You lift it up, and there it is, and it sits. Now, a couple of other challenges with this. When you have the filter brackets on, your protective sleeve will not fit. Your protective sleeve will also not fit if you put this on and then you decide to put the filter assembly on after, because the tolerances here are so tight they don't fit. So full disclosure, this protective case, once you put this on, you're not able to put that back on. Minor point, but we'll talk about that again later. Now, with this filter assembly, there is a bracket, a foot shoe for the top, because they do sell light kits as well, and there are brackets on the bottom for an actual mounting that you can get to hold on if you want to have a beefier unit that's got lights on the inside. They're available through the company. I didn't need those. I've got my own frame housings and stuff to use, and I have a different setup plan for this when I dive anyway, and I may actually just use the lanyard that is provided with it that you attach here and just leave it on my wrist. I may be doing that the first time I use this, just so I can concentrate on this particular device. This lens piece here is that, or the membrane I should say, is I tried using it with gloves and I didn't really have any luck. I mean, I couldn't get it to respond using a glove. Additionally, the company, it says don't scratch or efface the membrane because it'll reduce its functionality and your ability to use it. And most gloves I know of have these really hard stitch lines here and, you know, a certain rough material on it for, you know, having to grip underwater. So I really wouldn't be using gloves anyway, which kind of means for me this is a warm water tool. I wouldn't be using it up in Tobermory and Lake Huron because I need gloves. So that's another thing to note. It's depth rated to 197 feet or 60 meters, and although the math doesn't quite work, I mean, for me 65 meters is 197 feet, but even if, let's say it's 180 feet, 180 feet is well beyond the average sport diver. That said, for every yin, there's a yang. As much as I like this and I'm excited about using it, I do think Divevolk, if you're listening, and hope you're listening, there are opportunities for improvement. You provide with it this little tool, ostensibly to clean the glass in case there's dust or dirt on it. It fits up underneath. You never use this on the membrane. But I think it's too small and it doesn't really do the trick. I ended up using a plastic ruler with a wider face so I could get more pressure on to do a better job of actually cleaning. If you take this and create more of a squeegee with a firmer handle and maybe a little longer so you can get some pressure to clean the glass, I think that's a good move on your part. The other thing I think Divevolk you need to look at is this sleeve. While it fits nicely and does well, you should have some kind of retaining clip, whether rotary or a slide bar or something, to hold the phone in so that when you inadvertently take it out, and you don't mean to do it upside down, and the phone does indeed fall out, that it doesn't end up in the drink and you know, ruin the person's dive. So again, pretty easy, but I think a wise thing to do to make it more functional. The other thing I think you need to look at is you have a protective sleeve for while it's in storage, top side, as well as this. But I think what you really need is a protective covering while you are diving. So I can foresee the inevitable, Murphy's Law. You finish diving, you come back up, you hand it to the dive master, they throw it into the water bucket, freshwater bucket for cameras. The guy comes up behind you, he's got a big old Ike Light heavy thing, and the dive master throws it in there and it lands on this, and that's the quickest way for you to lose your housing because it gets ripped, perfed, or is no longer able to use. That will bring an incredibly short shelf life to what appears to be a really nice tool. So whether it's a sliding bar or a clip-on bar, something that can protect this while you're in the activity of the diving itself. something to look at. Again, I'm not bashing you, but it's some R&D I think that would be useful to extend the life of the tool and further protect this very important piece, which is the touch membrane. So that said, I'm excited. I hate to repeat myself, but I'm going to look forward to using this tool. Do subscribe, check out our channel. Come back. I will be doing additional videos on this in the future, so please, not only about the tool, but using the tool, so check us out. Click like, click subscribe. As I said, check out our other videos. And as always, until next time, go explore.